In today's video, I'm answering a question that people often ask me, which is, can anyone write a book regardless of their writing skills? So I was at a bar on Friday, and as is often the case when we meet new people at a bar, I was asked what I do for a living. And so I said, as I commonly do, unless I decide to be cheeky, that I write books and I help other people write books. So far so good, but my interlocutor is a little bit curious. So I was pressed to give more details, and I was asked several questions about what I do. And one of them was, Leandre, can anyone write a book? And what is the level of skill needed to work with you on a book? Now, I wanted to share the answer because it's something people often ask. And there's a big misconception in the publishing industry about what kind of writing skills you need to write a book. Now, before I get into the answer, I want to give a little bit of a preface, which is that what follows is the truth that your former English teachers from high school don't want you to hear. Now, I know that saying this makes me sound a little bit conspiratorial, and maybe now you expect me to go into some grand conspiracy about, why, the ruling elite is trying to keep people ignorant. Fortunately, there's no such grand conspiracy, other than the conspiracy of social programming, which is how we're programmed by society to think of ourselves as less than we actually are. Now, the reason your former English teachers don't want you to hear this is simply because they don't understand it, they don't appreciate it. And so to understand that and to accept that would be to be proven wrong, just like they were proven wrong about some of their teaching methods because of ChatGPT. And this is really the root of why people have this big misconception about the publishing industry. So, can anyone write a book regardless of their writing skills? The answer is yes, provided that you have a valuable message, story, or expertise that you want to share, and provided that you go and get the help that you need. You see, there is a difference between writers and authors, because writers write and authors publish. Now, of course, you can be an author who writes and you can be a writer who publishes, but these two things in and of themselves, they're not the same thing. And so as a matter of fact, the best writer in history could still be unknown to the world, because if they don't publish their work, we can't find it. But they're still a writer. And the same thing is true of best-selling authors on the New York Times bestseller list. Some of these authors have written 3, 4, 5, 7 books, and many of them may not have written anything more than 1,000 words or 2,000 words, and they have not written these books because they've worked with ghostwriters. Now, what happens when you hire a ghostwriter is that you're an author who is partnering with a writer. And so that's how you make the book happen. That's a little bit different from the way that I personally work. Now, I told my curious interlocutor that writing skills are secondary to quality content. With the way that I work with clients, you don't need to be good at writing, although it does help. So you only need to have something valuable to share, and even if your ideas aren't fully formed, aren't fully polished or developed, it still works. But you have to have something that you want to share. I can't make up something for you. Now, this may sound a little mysterious to you, but it's not very hard. All I do is provide the fundamentals of writing through a method that expedites your understanding of writing. And then I build the book for you based on your message, your story, or your expertise. And then you write the book using my insanely detailed step-by-step instructions. And then once you've written your first draft, you send it back to me and my team so we can make the improvements. The big lie about the publishing industry is that you must be a good writer before you can write a book. And that's just not true. In fact, a lot of writers on the New York Times bestselling list aren't. But this isn't to say that good writing isn't important. That is where coaching and editing comes in. So your book doesn't have to be a literary masterpiece to be successful. Good writing will keep your audience engaged and make your content more effective. And in fact, speaking about being a good writer, a lot of clients that have worked with me as a result of our collaboration not only wrote and published their book, but have improved their writing skills dramatically. So that is it. That is the answer to can anyone write a book regardless of skills? The answer is yes, as long as they have something to share and as long as they go and get the help they need. Now, if you don't have the luxury of meeting writers at your local bar, then I suggest you keep following me and Trivium Writing for more advice.